Have you ever stopped to think that the very thing you're doing to find freedom might actually be building a new cage around you? It's a wild idea, I know, and maybe a little uncomfortable. But in this explainer, we're diving deep into this exact paradox based on the work of Yashpal Singla. We're calling it the trap of practice. This sentence right here, this is everything. It's the whole idea in a nutshell. Any path, any practice, any tool we use for liberation can, if we're not really paying attention, become our new prison. So how on earth does that happen? Well, to understand the trap, we first have to get clear on what we're trying to escape from. And that brings us to the core problem, this idea of the false self, our conditioned identity. Yashpal Singla gives us this fantastic metaphor to make it all make sense. Just imagine that your true essential self, are a simple box. But over your entire life, you've been covered in this wrapping paper. That wrapper, that's your story, your name, your personality, all the labels. And what holds that paper on so tight is this glue. That's our attachments, our beliefs, our conditioning. And here's the kicker. Most of us walk around thinking we are the wrapping paper. This is the first massive light bulb moment on any real path. Just let that sink in. You are the box, not the paper it's wrapped in. The entire point of any genuine spiritual practice is just to gently, slowly dissolve that glue so we can remember who we really are underneath it all. Okay, so if the problem is this super sticky glue of identity, how in the world do we get it off? Well, that's where the tools come in. That's what spiritual practices are for. And here's what's so crucial to understand. The purpose of any of these practices doesn't matter if it's Gyan Yoga, the path of knowledge, or Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion. The goal is always the same. It's not about becoming something new. It's about undoing something false. The whole point is to create just a little bit of space between you, the box, and your story, the wrapper. And in that tiny little gap, that's where awareness, your true nature, can finally start to shine through. But right here, this is where it gets tricky. This is where the paradox, the very heart of the trap, starts to show up, because the tool we picked up to break our chains can, without us even realizing it, start forging brand new ones. So you can see how this subtle shift happens. On the left, you've got the promise, those amazing first tastes of purity or bliss, or a moment of true silence. Beautiful, right? But look at the right side. If we're not careful, that experience of bliss hardens into a new identity. I am a meditator. The goal of liberation turns into just belonging to a certain group. And that glimpse of silence, it can curdle into spiritual pride, that sneaky feeling that we're somehow more evolved than everyone else. This quote from the source material just says it all, doesn't it? We think we've torn off the old wrapping paper, our boring old identity. But what we've really done is just put on a new, shinier one. And because this new one is all decorated with spiritual pride, it can be even thicker, even stronger than the one we started with. So how does this deception sneak up on us so quietly? Well, it happens through the illusion of progress, when a living, breathing practice slowly turns into a dead, mechanical routine. It usually happens in a few stages. First, we start chasing memories. We're trying to get back that amazing feeling we had last week, instead of just being with whatever is true right now. Then the practice just becomes mechanical. The inner spark is gone, it's just a ritual we do. And finally, and this is the really dangerous part, the practice itself starts making new glue. It stops dissolving identity and actually starts reinforcing this new spiritual one. So if that's the trap, is there a way out? What's the key? Absolutely. The solution is all about being willing to ask ourselves some radically honest questions, over and over again. This is the first and maybe the most important one. You have to ask with total honesty, what am I really doing this for? Is my goal actually freedom, or am I maybe secretly just trying to build a better-looking, more refined ego? And the second question is like a checkup. You have to become a scientist of your own mind. Is this practice really making my sense of self more open and fluid? Or is it just creating a new, rigid identity, the yogi, the meditator, that I'm now clinging to for dear life? And this is the bottom line. This is the ultimate test. Am I genuinely becoming freer, more at ease with life, or am I just getting more comfortable inside a fancier, better decorated cage? So you've really got to look at the results, the actual fruits of the practice. And the source gives us these super clear benchmarks. A healthy practice, it always leads to more humility, a deeper inner silence, and just a genuine openness. A practice that's become a trap? Well, that's where you find superiority, a sense of division from others, and, of course, spiritual pride. This all leads to a final, really beautiful guiding principle. You can think of it as a simple instruction. Don't polish the lamp. Think of it like this. Any practice, any path, is just a finger pointing to the sun. The whole point is to look at the sun, not to get obsessed with decorating and worshiping the finger that's pointing the way. The path is never, ever the destination. Which brings us to the ultimate goal. You use a tool to build a house. When the house is built, you put the hammer down. The purpose of any real practice is to dissolve that glue so completely that the tool itself isn't needed anymore. You don't need the boat once you've crossed the river. And that brings us right back to where we started, with the one question that truly matters, the one that only you can answer for yourself. When you look at your path, your methods, your beliefs, ask with total honesty, is your practice a tool that's setting you free? Or has it, ever so subtly, become a cage?